What if the place meant to save lives became a prison, where the walls remember every scream and the darkness never lets go? Tonight, you'll step inside Blackwood Asylum, but be warned. Some stories are better left in the shadows. Blackwood Asylum was built in 1924, deep in the remote woods of Raven County, miles away from any town or help. It was the kind of place designed to be isolated, hidden, secluded from the world. At the time, mental health was a mystery wrapped in stigma. Doctors believed that silence, discipline, and confinement could cure the mind. Families sent their loved ones here, desperate for hope, hoping Blackwood could heal what no one else could. The asylum was a sprawling complex, cold stone buildings, long empty hallways, and barred windows that looked more like prison cells. It housed hundreds of patients, many suffering from illnesses we barely understand today. At first, Blackwood was seen as a place of progress, a beacon of science and medicine. But behind those walls, something darker began to take root. Rumors spread of strange treatments, secret experiments, and patients vanishing without explanation. Some say the doctors were too obsessed with their research. Others whisper about voices heard in the night and shadows moving where no one should be. Whatever the truth, Blackwood stopped being a sanctuary long before it was shut down. And once you cross its threshold, you step into a story darker than anyone imagined. Blackwood Asylum was built in 1924, deep in the woods of Raven County. Back then, people believed they could fix the human mind with a bit of discipline, some wires, and a lot of silence. It was supposed to be a safe place, a place to help those who had nowhere else to go. Families sent their loved ones here, hoping for healing. But those tall iron gates? They didn't keep the patients in. They kept something else out, or maybe something in. Doctors came from all over the country to work here, and at first, things seemed normal. But soon, Blackwood began to change. It started small, almost nothing noticeable at first. Lights flickering in empty rooms, cold drafts sweeping down hallways with no windows open, soft whispers echoing late at night, just beyond hearing. The staff tried to ignore it. Doctors blamed stress. Nurses said it was just the building settling. But patients, they knew something was wrong. Some began to claim they could hear footsteps pacing the halls when no one else was around. Others spoke of shadowy figures watching them from dark corners. One nurse, Claire, kept a diary. She wrote about strange noises, voices calling her name in the dead of night. She described doors opening and closing on their own, and the feeling of being watched, even when she was alone. Then came the disappearances. At first, a patient would be missing for a few hours. Staff would find them wandering the woods outside the asylum, confused and silent. But soon, people stopped coming back. A doctor vanished without a trace. A group of nurses was found locked in a room, unable to explain how they got there. Patients whispered about a man who walked the halls at night. Not a doctor, not a patient. Something else. One night, a young patient named Lila was found standing outside her locked room, barefoot in the freezing snow. Her eyes were empty, and she smiled without reason. When asked how she escaped, she simply said, "He opened the door for me." No one knew who he was. No one wanted to ask. Then came the night that changed everything. October 12th, 1971. A night burned into the memory of Raven County forever. Around midnight, thick black smoke began to rise from the east wing of Blackwood Asylum. Flames licked the sky like hungry fingers, visible for miles. The fire raged uncontrollably for hours, When the firefighters finally broke through the front gates, the scene was unlike anything they expected. The building was a blazing inferno, collapsing on itself. But something didn't add up. Where were the people? Official records said there were 32 patients and 5 staff inside that night. Yet no bodies were ever found. No remains, no ashes, just empty, burning rooms swallowed by flames. The cause of the fire was officially declared faulty wiring. But whispers around town told a darker story. Some said it was arson, a deliberate act to cover up something far worse. Others believed the fire was a way to erase the evidence of experiments gone horribly wrong. Some even claimed the patients vanished into the fire and into thin air. What's even more chilling is what happened afterward. The fire left Blackwood in ruins, but it did not silence the rumors. Locals say you can still see flickering lights in the ruins on stormy nights, hear screams carried on the wind, mixing with the crackle of dying flames. And the ashes. Some say they're still warm. After the fire, Blackwood Asylum was abandoned, left to rot and decay under the thick canopy of the surrounding forest. But some say the darkness never left. Over the years, the ruins attracted all kinds of people, curious locals, thrill-seeking teenagers, and ghost hunters chasing the next big haunt. Most visitors came and went with nothing but a good scare or two, but some came back with stories so strange, so terrifying, they're almost impossible to believe. Take Chris Delaney, for example. In 1998, Chris and his friends snuck inside Blackwood just after midnight, armed with flashlights and a handheld camera. They explored the crumbling hallways, laughing nervously, until Chris suddenly stopped. He clutched his head and dropped to his knees, screaming about a piercing, high-pitched noise only he could hear. A scream so loud it felt like it was cracking his skull from the inside out. His friends heard nothing. To this day, Chris refuses to speak about what he heard. Then there's the legend of Room 42. Locals say if you stand outside that room exactly at midnight, you'll hear a soft humming, like a lullaby sung by a mother to her child. But there was never a children's ward at Blackwood, so who is humming in the dark? And the stories don't stop there. In 2003, a group of teenagers decided to live stream their exploration of Blackwood. For the first hour, they joked and teased each other, daring one another to go deeper into the ruins. Then the footage went black. Only one of the group came back. He was found wandering the nearby woods, silent and wide-eyed, clutching his phone with the screen cracked and dark. When asked what happened, he whispered just 3 chilling words. They never left. Since then, these stories have only grown. Some say the souls of the patients are trapped there, endlessly replaying their final moments. Others believe the asylum is a beacon, calling something dark and restless from beyond. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear. Blackwood Asylum isn't just a place. It's a presence, an echo of pain that refuses to fade. For decades, Blackwood Asylum has been left to the mercy of time and nature. Trees grew through crumbling walls, vines strangled iron gates, and the forest slowly swallowed the ruins whole. Many hoped the darkness would fade with the decay, that Blackwood would finally be forgotten. But some places have a way of refusing to stay buried. In 2018, a real estate company bought the land, eager to erase the past and build luxury condos. The promise of a fresh start, a new future. But the past had other plans. The demolition crew arrived bright and early, machines ready to tear down what was left of Blackwood's broken bones. By midday, 3 workers had quit in terror. One crane operator refused to climb back into his machine. He said he saw a figure in a white coat watching him from the rubble, motionless yet impossible to ignore. When he looked again, it was gone, but the feeling never left. Another worker reported static on his walkie-talkie. A woman's voice, barely audible, whispering just one word: "Stay." Machines broke down mysteriously. Tools vanished without explanation. Blueprints went missing. Accidents piled up. Even local dogs would growl and refuse to cross the boundary. The company eventually pulled out, abandoning the project with no explanation, except rumors that Blackwood simply wouldn't let go. Some say the souls trapped inside still guard the grounds. Others believe the darkness itself has rooted deep in the soil, an invisible force impossible to fight. Whatever it is, Blackwood Asylum is more than just a ruin. It's a warning. Some places don't want to be disturbed, and some stories are still being written. What really happened inside Blackwood Asylum? That's the question no one has been able to answer. Over the years, countless theories have emerged, some chilling, others downright terrifying. One popular theory claims the asylum was used for secret experiments, far beyond the accepted medical treatments of the time, not just shock therapy or isolation, but testing with drugs, mind control, and experimental surgeries. Some say these experiments were so unethical, so dangerous, they were hidden from the public eye. Could those patients who vanished have been test subjects? Were they erased to keep the truth from leaking out? Then there's the theory about the fire itself. Was it an accident, or a deliberate act to cover up something much worse? Some believe the fire was meant to destroy evidence, and that the souls of those trapped inside never found peace. Another theory dives into the supernatural. Many who have ventured near Blackwood report strange phenomena: cold spots that freeze the air, whispers that follow you down empty hallways, and shadows that move without a source. Some say the asylum is built on a thin veil between worlds, a place where the living and the dead sometimes cross paths. There's also talk of a dark presence lurking in the ruins, a malevolent force feeding on fear and suffering, waiting for the right moment to return. And then there's the unsettling silence of official records. Why are so many documents missing or heavily redacted? Why did the investigation into the fire end so quickly, with no clear answers? The truth might be locked away forever, hidden behind layers of secrecy and silence. But one thing's certain: Blackwood Asylum's story isn't finished. It's an unfinished puzzle, pieces scattered in shadows and whispers. And until those pieces come together, the mystery remains. So what's the truth behind Blackwood Asylum? We may never fully know. Some secrets are buried too deep, and some shadows too dark to ever truly disappear. But here's the thing about places like Blackwood: they don't just vanish. If you ever find yourself near those ruins, especially after midnight, remember this: don't go inside. Because some doors, once opened, can never be closed again, and some voices, once heard, never truly leave you. The walls still whisper, the shadows still move, and the echoes of pain, fear, and suffering still linger in the air. If you listen closely, you might hear them calling for someone to remember, to answer, to join. So next time you hear a soft whisper in the dark, or see a shadow just out of the corner of your eye, ask yourself, is it just your imagination? Or is Blackwood watching, waiting? And if it is, will you answer? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one. Bye for now.